on our website to be viewed at a later date. You will receive an email following the webinar with a participation certificate. And if you have any questions throughout the webinar, you can use the chat feature, and those questions will all be answered at the end of the webinar as time allows. So to get started, I just want to introduce our speakers. The first one is Krista Harvey. She is a health teacher from East Greenwich High School. We have Melissa Priester, a family and consumer science teacher from Grays Lake Central High, and Mary Johnson, one of our senior account managers here at RealityWorks. So first I'm going to pass it over to get the tips and tricks from Krista Harvey.
Okay, hello everybody. There we go. I can't. All right, it is not allowing me to scroll. There it goes. Okay. Okay, hi. I wanted to give a little bit of background about the district I teach in. I'm a PE and health teacher at East Greenwich High School in Rhode Island, and I have, my district is a middle class, upper middle class area. My students are very fortunate. The babies I have 15 babies, and back up, the district is also a one-to-one district where every student has a laptop. Everybody has a Chromebook. So later on in my slides, you'll see what that is, how that is covered. So my babies were purchased with grant money through the district. And I have 15 of those, eight females, 7 males, and they have been working very well. This is my 4th year with the babies and the pregnancy profile and all of the curriculum. When I start with the babies, I do a full 68-minute period where I introduce a program and we watch the short vignette on the RealityWorks website, and I cover everything from the websites to the app, what they will get when they take the baby home, and then I put them through a little demonstration. Whoops, sorry. I just hit it way too many times. Okay. After I am done speaking to the students, they're usually very excited and a little nervous. I put forth these assignment sheets, as you can see on the screen. I usually put out about 8 weekends per semester, and this will cover all of my classes, plus there is one other teacher who teaches the same level of health that I do. I'm in charge of I do all the baby, everything for the simulation. They just sign up in his class. So we give the kids 8 weekends per semester, and they look at the weekends, then they, sign up, and then they come back and they change. As you can see, this page is kind of messy. My students are, 70% of the students at the high school are athletes. So we do have some problems with scheduling wise. So as schedules come out, and then we have to change at times. Okay. Every student is required to do a 24-hour simulation, and it has to go an overnight on a weekend. No babies are on in school. They pick them up on Friday at 2 o'clock, and then they bring them back on Monday morning at 7. But the simulation goes from Friday at 2 to Sunday at 2, or within that range. Then during that weekend, if they have a job or an athletic competition, then I will give them 3 hours of quiet time. But other than that, the babies are on. All right, my next slide. Most of my stuff is done behind the scenes. As you can see, I am the Post-it note queen with this. I take names, numbers, put them on the baby car seats, and then I set up the babies ahead of time with the IDs in the diaper bag, and then a checklist, which you'll find here on my assignment sheet. It's kind of like just a reminder sheet of what is in the diaper bag, how the baby leaves and comes back to school, a blog address, which I'll get to in a moment, and then I fold that, tuck that in the front of the diaper bag with everything they need, and I put the IDs in there in the front of the diaper bag. The blog, I have a blog specific for that weekend that they will have the baby, and they are required to make 6 comments on the blog, plus answer or comment on somebody else's blog post. So that has worked well, because now I know what's going on, and I could see who's frustrated and having a hard time. And it's kind of good for them to see how others are having an issue as well. Let's see. Okay, so the babies go home, and then all is well with that. Within my program, I also have 4 pregnancy profiles. Everybody gets a chance to wear them. I use it as a lab. We do 1 or 2 days, depending upon the class size. And they have certain things that they have to accomplish while wearing the profile simulators. But from number 1, putting it on, picking up their shirt off the floor, then taking a nap, running up and down the stairs for 3 minutes to see how winded they become. Because a lot of my students are like, there's nothing to this. But then by the end of the 3 minutes, they're dying. We do the pre and post simulation questions from the curriculum. And then after which I work in childbirth videos that I find off of babycenter.com. So that works out well, a 1 or 2 day lab. And then my final 2 slides are my financial project. Way back when Reality Works, these babies were Baby Think It Over. They had a project in there, just 1 sheet. And from that, I've worked up the scenario and worked it into a project. The financial piece, it would be kind of like a what if. And I have them being kicked out of their house by their parents. Nobody wants to deal with them. How are they going to survive? And they have 3 sections for this project. On the next slide is with the computers and being 1-to-1, this allows them to do all of their work on the computer with the research. And they have to figure out what a baby's going to need for the first year of life, what the parent's going to need for the baby for the first year of life. And then everything is added up for them on the bottom on the Google Sheet, Google form. And then the next one, so that was the first part. The second one is the independent budget, in which they have to find a place to live. And a lot of them realize that they can't participate in the athletics or the hobbies that they have now. And they also grow, hopefully, an appreciation of what their parents spend on just basic daily living. That's about it for my program. It has worked very well over the last 4 years. The final thing of the project, I'm sorry, is that they sum it up. I have to have some kind of written within my district as a requirement. So we reflect on the whole entire presentation, so a 2-page summary. That's my baby project.
Thank you, Krista. Can you tell us again what forms that you use for this budget project as well?
Oh, sure. It's Google Docs or Google Form. Anything within my district, we're very Google heavy. So one of my colleagues, he made up the form for me. And it just at the tops, or as you can see, it's yellow. And then by the bottom of the document, everything adds up for them. So it's within Google.
Great, thank you. All right, I'm going to pass the webinar over to Melissa Priester from Grays Lake Central High School.
Hello, yes, I come to you from Grays Lake Central. We are located about 45 to 60 minutes north of Chicago, so one of the suburbs. I am fortunate to have, we have 10 babies at each school, very mixed as far as race and all of that. Sorry, I also can't move. Why can't I move slides? There we go. Okay, as far as storage, we use the one that's the picture in the middle. That is my lovely storage closet. I use a lot of bins to keep things organized. I store the RealCare 3 outfits by type. So it's easy for the students to come and pick them up. And instead of having the diaper bags prepared, they have to go through and pick up their supplies. They normally come in during like a lunch hour before, sometimes even after school, or just get to class a little bit early to do that. That way it's kind of ownership on them, just like they would create their own diaper bag if they were a new mom. As far as before the babies even go out, I send out communication with our teachers and staff to let them know that, you know, the babies are coming, because I do have them go into the classrooms. Our district does allow that. They support it. I do quiet the babies for, oh, sorry, I thought that was where it said it, for gym and test, quizzes, so on and so forth. But this is just a little notification. It all goes out now on Schoology. It used to be a handout and it went to an email. It's changed over time. We've been doing this for almost 10 years now. So obviously things have changed a little bit. Sign up dates. So about a month prior to the project, we start planning. I start planning. I have students look at different dates. Like I said, we do use them during school. So some of the dates are weekdays and some of them are weekends. They have them for approximately 5 days, 4 nights, unless I have a very big class. Then I will minimize it to 4 days, 3 nights. It's their responsibility to check dates with their coaches, their employers, their family, to see what's going on in their lives to make sure they can handle this baby. I do quiet the babies for different things like sporting events, work. I do it on a case-by-case basis. You know, sometimes we have kids that really need to work to help support themselves or their family. And so, like I said, it's a case-by-case. I do hand out bracelets, you know, the babysitter bracelets, to those that must work, but it exceeds their quiet times. Okay. Also, permission forms go home with the kids and they write down their date that they signed up for. So when mom and dad signs away on all of those sheets, they also can see the date that the baby will be home in their house. As far as in school, like I said, the PE tests, quizzes. In Illinois, PE is required all 4 years unless you have driver's ed or health. So, you know, I use that time. Baby comes to me, I put it on daycare mode. And sometimes if I have time, I check baby. I'll pull the report to see how the student is doing. And I like to do that when they're not with me, so I know if I have to have a discussion with them. I like them to talk with their teachers to see how they would like them to handle the baby in the classroom. So that also gives them a good opportunity to have an adult conversation with their teachers and talk about, you know, the care of the baby. As far as in the car seat, yes, the halls can get crowded, so the car seat's the best option. And so far it's worked. The other students, they don't want to be hit by the car seat, so they typically stay out of the student's way. For going home, I like to print all their schedules. So I have every student on a piece of paper in their schedule. I highlight whatever I need to. I jot down notes. If they've come to me with tests, quizzes, whatever, I jot it all down there. So when I go to plan these, program the babies, I have a game plan. And I know ahead of time. So of course things come up. Of course things change. You know, teachers don't always know tests and quizzes. But hopefully I have a little bit of a jump on my plan. I also write down, the baby's number and their ID on those. As far as preparing the students, I take definitely 3 days. Day one is a brief kind of overview. We don't have block scheduling, so we have 45 to 50 minutes. Every Wednesday is a late start date, so that is an even shorter period. So day one is a journal, and normally just you know, what have you heard, what rumors, and just them asking random questions. Day 2, we go over all the paperwork. We watch the video. We do the quiz, you know, that RealityWorks has. Then we talk about the computer report. I pull one up. I show them how they're graded. You know, everything. I don't have any gotcha moments. I show them everything that I see. And day 3, I put the babies on demo mode. That's the pictures you see. Those are some of my students working with the babies. For half the class period, and then I turn them on to a program. You know, I program a few of them so they can practice the changing of the clothes, the car seat, but if they drop the head or they mishandle, the baby will cry to signal that they did it wrong. So I like them to have that experience. They are also allowed to come in during their lunch hours or study hall to practice with the baby prior to taking it home. So if they're a nervous one, they can come in and do that. Grade sheets, these are up here. I grade a lot on the paperwork. What I found was some kids did really poor on the baby, and so I needed somehow to balance it out so that they could journal and reflect and understand the importance of that baby. But also, as you can see, the baby is still 50 out of the 120 points. Since pictures and phones are so prevalent with the students, I included, you know, the baby photos, the public outing, which includes a picture. They have to go somewhere out into the public, even if it's just around their neighborhood, and then journal about it. For extra credit, they could do a little like video diary of themselves. So like every night or every evening, you know, again, they have all this technology on their phone. I figured, you know, maybe they'd use it. Unfortunately, many don't. So it could be something really easy. They're probably doing it anyway, but they're not, you know, turning it in for extra credit. So I've only gotten a few of those. And then to finish up, the new features, I did include that on my rubric. You can see that here. So the temperature of the clothing, the car seat, I wanted them to be responsible for those new features. I really like the new features. So you can see towards the bottom is where those new features take place. And to be honest, it's rare that I have to take points off for that, especially the temperature. But in the car seat, I have had to do that one, and changing the clothes. I'm always surprised that the kids aren't more excited. They're so excited to change the clothes in class that when they get home, they don't want to do it. So, and then returning the babies, you know, I try to have them return it if their PE is prior to my class, since it has to be in my class anyway. That way I have time to pull the report and look over baby, check for spots and stuff like that. Okay. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much, Melissa.
You're welcome.
Again, if anybody has questions for Melissa or Krista, you can type it in the chat feature and we will check that at the end. And right now, I'm going to pass the webinar over to Mary Johnson for some tips and tricks from RealityWorks.
Thank you, Ms. Sam. This is Mary, and I've been with RealityWorks for a little over 8 years, and I've traveled from Arizona up to New York, and from Montana down to Georgia, and the states in between, and talking to a lot of FACS teachers. And so I just wanted to show you a few of my favorite things. I'm always impressed with how creative and smart our teachers are, and just a few of their favorite things. Sam, I'm not moving this thing here, so it's not moving. Is it going?
Okay, you are in control of the screen, so just use the arrow if you can down in the your bottom left-hand corner.
Okay, let's try this. There we go.
There
All right.
go.
So I think I skipped through a couple here. All right. So the first thing is an idea that came from one of my teachers in North Dakota, and she said that she has a baby parent night. So she said that, she kind of puts it out there for all the parents, that she has them come and introduces them to the baby and teaches them what they're going to be doing and how to operate the baby and take care of it, and does a little evening baby training with them. And she said that she ends up having a better turnout for that than she does for conferences. I thought that was a great way of getting the parents on board and really enhancing the students' experience by having family support on the home front and giving them some parental input as well. So that was one of my ideas from North Dakota. Another idea came from Tennessee, a teacher down there, and she said that what she does is if anybody, all the teachers in the school are considered mandatory reporters. And if anybody sees a student, whether it's a student of hers, and she said most of the time it isn't because her students have been trained, but even another student in the hallway going by intentionally trying to hurt the baby or hang the baby upside down or do anything inappropriate, they are mandatory reporters and they report them to her. And then what they'll do is have the school police officer come in and they'll have a little arrest and they'll have, you know, and go through the whole thing, have a mock trial in the classroom, and they have to talk about infant neglect and child abuse and different things and what are the consequences of that. And she ends up having them, and she's got, you know, administrative support that if a student is tried and found guilty, then they must give her community service. So they owe her like 1 hour a week for 6 weeks or whatever she needs, whatever is appropriate for the situation. And she puts them to work in her classroom. So I thought that was just a really great way of just, again, taking all these little things that happen along the way and turning them into an excellent learning opportunity. Another one that I've got from New York, one of my teachers up there, is she's got maybe 10, 20 babies. And I've seen this in other schools too, so some of you know about it. Some of you are new to this. I think it's a great organization idea. Say you have 10 babies, and you, instead of going by just the ID number that's on their wristband, those hospital IDs are really cute and they're great, but the reality over the years, that sticker can peel off. So an easy way to do it is use a magic marker in between the shoulder blades in the back. Just write, if you have 10 babies, 1 through 10 on those babies. And you would identify them on your computer as 1 through 10. And then mark everything, your car seat carriers, your diaper bags, your clothing, your IDs, everything to go with each of those babies, maybe 1 through 10. So the students can grab them and everything is easily associated and stays together, and things like that. I think it's just a great, that numbering system or alphabet or however you want to do it is just a great system for keeping organized and keeping things together, easy for you and the students. I also thought I'd talk about what's new. Everybody's always saying, so what's new? We've got some new things. Some are free, some are not so free, but they're all good. And so some of the free things that we have out here is, first of all, if you don't know about it, we have a free phone app for both Androids and iPhones that students can download. They love their phones. I think one of the teachers was talking about it earlier today. They love their phones, and this is a great way to engage them. There's like short little how-to videos on these phones, so you don't have that freak out moment when they get home and they're wanting to call you. It really helps reduce those phone calls. I've had teachers say they've seen a significant reduction on that. Along with that, though, just an FYI, if they feel like their baby is getting static and you're hearing static coming from the baby, and they're going, my baby's not working, I'm hearing static, have them move their cell phones. Their cell phones are too close to their babies. So sometimes there will be an interference going on between the two. And that's kind of actually a good thing, I think, because that's a complaint we're hearing a lot about young parents these days, is they're more engaged with their cell phones than the babies. So we want to kind of help them with that, but not overstep that. This is just a little bit more some of the things you'll see on that app when they're on their phone, either instructions or they can scroll down and watch a video on it, answers to most frequently asked questions. The other thing is we have some new curriculum available, some career exploration curriculum for both soft skills and career exploration. The newest one here is the one I'm showing here is for the soft skills, employability skills, and it's about 6 lessons talking from job interviews, communication skills, teamwork in the workplace. You can read it. In addition, we also have, I'll talk about in a minute here, a new employability skills curriculum that takes this and expands. We have about 19 lessons, and that's something you can purchase. So here are these things that, speaking of, nice little segues, that are free, but they're not free, but they are really cool. And that's going to be our new geriatric suit right there on the left. You can see that. It's very cool. There's 6 different, if you talk about lifespan at all, 6 different classes that simulate like glaucoma, it's glaucoma. What am I saying? I don't know. But I'm kind of thinking of the words right now. But anyways, all the different disease states for the eyes. It comes with curriculum. It's really cool, and it's very engaging for the students. It's hard to find some great curriculum out there on gerontology, so we've got that. You can see that we just have our preemie babies also now available. We just got that in stock this week, and so that's now available too. The employability skills curriculum is down below that I mentioned, and then we have our field development kit as well. And that's going to have a section from every month, the uterus from every month of the child development that they can pull out and hold and see and take a look at. And then we have our field development kit, which is a cross section of that too, of a full month, 9-month fetus in the uterus. So I think because of time, I will not go through everything here, but just kind of quick scroll through, and then I'll pass it back to you, Sam, for any questions that you have.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mary. We do have several questions that have popped up. And so the first question that was asked is for Melissa. Melissa, you had the grade sheet on there. Is that something you created or you'd be willing to share? Can you tell us more about your grade sheet?
I would be willing, to share it. I don't know how there is a way to do that, but yes.
Okay, and did you just create that in Excel?
That one was just created, I believe, in Word. It's just a Word document that, I came up with over the years of use, what I found, was good or bad.
Okay, great. And then same question for you, Krista, but on your budget sheet, on your Google Docs. And that's something you said you used another teacher to help create that. Can you just explain that again?
Sure. My department head is very good with this stuff. And so he just took pretty much, it came from your curriculum and we just altered it a little bit. We pulled what we needed from it and he popped it onto a Google form. And this way, everything adds up at the bottom. All the totals come up and then they work from the totals.
Okay. All right, next question that either Krista or Melissa could answer, but what is the best amount of time to have the babies out with your students?
Oh boy. I do, the point of my project seems to come across in the 24 hours that each student has a baby. I know Melissa does it much longer and I give her a lot of credit for that.
Yeah, unfortunately, when I shortened my time, I did shorten it for, a semester, and they liked it. Now, I run all my babies on medium, and maybe that's why. But, there are those really hard programs on the medium setting. I just, with everything being fair, I wanted it to be fair. So everything's on medium. But, yes, when I brought it down to 3 days, 2 nights, they came back happy and crying to, put the baby away. So that's when I lengthened it.
Okay, great. Another question is how many babies do you guys have in your classroom and how many would you suggest to have to run a full class?
I have 15. And those take me my prep periods are 68 minutes. I usually take about 2 prep periods a week to get them up and running.
Okay, I have 10. I have had as many as 15 at one point. I think it all depends. Yeah, I only have maybe 1 to 2 classes of the parenting class that use them. So that's where, my 10 babies are manageable and I can do it within a month. They don't all go out at the same time. So I'll have 5 go out and then 4 go out and so on and so forth over the 4 weeks.
All right. Next question. How did you get your administration and fellow staff on board with allowing the babies to be in class? I assume they are set and they will cry in class. We don't have that option in my high school. What do you suggest?
I don't even know. I don't think I ever even had a formal discussion with them. which sounds so bad, but if this happened, so many years ago, we had all of a sudden a spike between the two high schools, and they were like, we need to get these babies to these kids. And so I wrote the curriculum and went away with it. And yeah, no, I never got any pushback. So I guess my answer, like if I was starting this, I would take my documentation, I would look at statistics. I know Reality Works has a lot of them in their site as far as the helpfulness of the babies. And I would talk to the superintendent or the principal, whoever is going to make that ultimate decision, and have just, a conversation. Now, if there is pushback, yeah, you can do the pickup after school, drop off in the morning. That is more realistic to a parent. I understand. I get that comment a lot. But we also know that as parents, we do take our children to church and we take them, out to eat, and sometimes baby cries. And so the classroom kind of mimics that. What do you do when the baby cries when you're in the middle of church? Typically we, try to soothe them, or we take them to the back or, out. So that's why I have them in the classroom.
My babies, I had a group of parents, and my superintendent loved bringing in new technology, updated technology to run along with the one-to-one laptops. So I had a group of moms who actually approached the superintendent for me. So I'm very fortunate in that regard.
I do know best practice from Reality Works that we've heard regarding that question is that using the daycare mode that is available within the software. And one teacher would actually have the students come in early and drop their babies off at daycare in her classroom, and she would put them in daycare mode. Then they would pick them up right after class, and she would take them out of daycare mode. So that is always a potential too.
That is what I use during test quizzes and gym. Yes.
Great. Okay. All right, well, that looks like all of our questions. Great questions, and looks like a lot of people are really interested in the budget and grade sheets. So I will work with our guest speakers to make those available out on our blog. And so please look for an email that will include your participation certificate and also a link to the blog to be able to get those in the upcoming week. But I just again want to thank Melissa and Krista and Mary for joining us on our webinar today, and thank everybody else for joining us as well. Please look for this webinar, and we will see you on the next webinar. Thanks so much.